Everyone. Move for Change Ministries is live on air once more from Toronto, Canada. We are very privileged and happy to be on this platform one more time. It's always a privilege and honor to be here. We always try to bring interesting programs here so that we all can benefit. And we ask that as you join the program this evening, you would share with someone. Someone else can like the program, share the program with another friend, a friend sharing with a friend, another friend sharing with another friend. And we ask you to follow also. And just do not be followers, but we asking you if you can be live viewers all the time, so you will get live and relevant information, whether spiritual, physical, from whatever point of view. Our information that we share here from this platform must always benefit the viewers and even ourselves. You can view this program also on YouTube. It's live on YouTube also. You can go on Move for Change or Baxter Lewis page, and this program is live right there. So please subscribe to this program when you are on YouTube and like it when you are on Facebook. Today I have a special. I use the word special, many a time. A special guest on this program this evening, Dr. Rhonda Cambridge Philip, all the way from New York City. I'll be bringing her live on air with me right now. Rhonda, it's a privilege to have you on this platform. Very happy to have you. And Rhonda is a medical doctor. And we will be talking this evening about COVID 19 and its effects. We'll be talking about what COVID 19 can do to us. And we know there are a lot of concerned people out there. Even myself, I'm concerned. So that's why we have Rhonda on this program this evening, Dr. Rhonda, I should say, on the program this evening to share some advice with us on COVID-19, how we can prevent COVID-19, if we are infected with COVID-19, how we can treat it. And she's a person who believes also in natural remedies, and we will talk about that later on in the program. So, Dr. Rhonda, I welcome you to the program this evening. You can talk a little bit more about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's truly a privilege to be on the air with you and just really talk about what's going on in the world right now, and really just try to help us all navigate it in a healthy way, and really just try to get the information we need to stay healthy, to keep our families healthy, and just to be productive. A little bit about me. I'm actually a board certified medical physician. I've been practicing for 20 years in the New York area. And just as you said, I wear somewhat two hats. So I work at an inner city hospital in Brooklyn, New York. And when I'm there, I work in the Department of Pediatrics. So I'm a practicing pediatrician. But I also have a private holistic wellness practice that really works to integrate medicine in a way where people can also focus on lifestyle changes, lifestyle modifications, in addition to the work that they're doing with their regular physician, in addition to taking medication and understanding the role that lifestyle modifications play in helping your medication to work better if you already are on medication, but also keeping you off medication. So I really believe in this integrative style of medicine where it doesn't have to be either or. You can really focus on both at the same time and focus on health and wellness in the true sense of the word, and focusing on health in a holistic sense as well.
Okay. So, Doctor, can you tell us how long now you've been into medicine? How long?
So I 20 years. It'll be 21 years this year actually. And I really started looking at health in a more holistic fashion about 10 years ago.
Okay. So, I just want to, this is just a random question, just came to mind. What do you have to share with younger doctors, who are coming after you, aspiring or students who are aspiring to be in the medical field?
Well, I think the most important thing that I would share, and I actually share this with my medical students and the training doctors that I teach, is that when you are working with a patient, when you are helping a patient manage their health care, I always impress upon them the fact that they should be thinking of this patient as a family member, a dear family member, a close friend, a relative, to really try to also put themselves in the patient's shoes so they
Hmm.
can understand, so we can understand both sides. And I think
Okay.
if we practice that, we will better be able to help our patients.
Okay. We have viewers just start coming on the program. I'm seeing the numbers are going up. I'm not seeing all the names, but for those who are that I'm seeing right now, I'm seeing Sandra Lewis Grant, my dear wife. I'm seeing Carice, Caesar. We want to welcome you and those on the back end who we are not seeing the names as yet. We welcome you to this broadcast this evening. We are discussing this evening COVID 19. It's a concern for everyone, and we would like you to share this program with everyone that you know, and let them come to the program and benefit out of this program, because I'm sure that there's some great, important, and relevant information that Dr. Rhonda would be sharing with us on this program this evening. Dr. Rhonda, my first question for you is this: to your knowledge, how COVID 19 started?
Well, what we believe is, first, let me say that the COVID-19 is in the family of the coronaviruses, right? And that family is not a new family of viruses. It's just that this particular strain is very virulent and affecting a lot of people and making people very, very sick. So, from what I understand, it started on the province, one of the provinces in China, and we believe that it came from animals being sold in the marketplace in that area, and then it infected humans.
Okay, okay, okay. And but this we are just about 1 year now since COVID-19 in North America, and I think there's in America, in the United States alone, we have about over 500,000 racing hard for 600,000 deaths already. Some time ago
Yes.
I heard you talk about the experience you experienced on Utica Avenue, where you saw a lot of dead people in trucks and things like that. How that affected you as a doctor?
That really, that how it affected me in a way that I really can't even find the words. I had never seen anything like that before. Um, I myself have not experienced a pandemic, maybe epidemics, but not a pandemic to this magnitude. So it was really disheartening to see, and it was just sad. It was just sad. I really, there's no other words to say, but it was just heartbreaking. Truly, truly heartbreaking.
Okay, and well, we have it here to deal with, and as you know, there's a lot of controversial conversation in regards to COVID-19 and in the medical world, and people are uncomfortable of what's happening in regards to COVID-19 and how the information is being sent out to us as a people. And that's why in the world today, all around the world, people are a little tempted and scary of having the vaccine. We do have a number of questions for you on this platform tonight, Doc. Our second question is, do the symptoms differ in age? Like somebody who is 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, the symptoms differ.
Well, I wouldn't say that the symptoms differ by age, but really the symptoms can be different in each person.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, some people can have no symptoms whatsoever. So, that's the group of people that we say are asymptomatic. They have no symptoms. But if someone is going to have symptoms, it can really be varied. Of course, you can have fever and respiratory symptoms like cough, runny nose, sore throat. You can also have headache, feeling very weak, very tired. Also, some people have gastrointestinal symptoms, GI symptoms, including diarrhea. The symptoms are really very varied.
Okay. Doc, so someone who does not show symptom at all, is it that you are encouraging everybody to get tested?
Well, what we're encouraging, definitely, if you have symptoms, you definitely should get tested, because you want to know. And at this point, the encouragement is that if you don't have symptoms, you should definitely be protecting yourself by and protecting yourself, and also protecting others around you. That's a big piece of it. So if you have the COVID-19 and you have no symptoms, one of the things you want to do, the reason why you would be wearing a mask and distancing yourself, is that you want to protect other people,
Mm-hmm.
from being infected. And if you don't have symptoms, or you don't even have the virus, now of course you are taking those precautions in order to protect yourself. So
Okay.
it's a two-way street. That's the way I like to think about it.
The next question that was coming up, it's in regards to what you talk about protecting oneself, because sometimes even now you see people walking the streets and no mask on and so on in the United States, because I follow the news, okay, in the United States and Canada especially. In the United States, they're encouraging people to double up on masks. We do not have that in Canada. How can one protect themselves really beside or let me rephrase this question. Doubling up on your mask, does it give you an extra protection?
It does give you an extra layer of protection, but one of the things we want to also focus on, besides keeping your distance, but besides wearing your mask, is that there are a lot of other things that you can do to keep your immune system strong. And it's about going back to the basics as well, because we know that this virus basically likes to infect weaker immune systems,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so there's so many things that we can do to keep our immune system strong and healthy and robust, and being able to just recognize if you come in contact with the virus, and let the immune system just work on it and do what it needs to do, so that you don't get sick and don't get hospitalized. And so that would include, of course, making sure that we're eating healthy foods that are high in antioxidants, and focusing on anti-inflammatory foods. And I think it's a good rule of thumb, because a lot of times people are not sure what they should be eating. If you focus on a plant-based diet as much as possible, a lot of your greens, a lot of your vegetables, the varied colors of your vegetables, because those are going to be the foods that are really high in antioxidants. And that's really what you want to focus on. You want to focus on your hydration as well, with plain water, plain filtered water. That is really going to be important. A lot of us don't drink enough water. And so viruses like to, be in that kind of situation. So
Environment.
yes, that kind of environment. So the other thing is that's going to be important is sleeping, allowing your body to rest. That also will boost your immune system as well. And
Mm-hmm.
then, of course, if you're in an area where, again, you're not sure what to eat, or you feel like, you are not eating the right way, supplementation is also going to be key. with various extra minerals and vitamins to make sure that you can keep your body healthy. So there's a lot of things besides just taking those obvious precautions that we can do. Getting enough exercise is also going to be important to boosting your immune system as well.
Doc, you talk about color, the color of your vegetables. That's quite interesting to me, and I'm sure many people are wondering about that. Why you talk about the color of what about the color? I'm just asking this information to benefit the viewers out there.
So the importance of having a diet and fruits and vegetables that are varied colors, because it points to the antioxidant capacity. So you know that old saying that the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know we've all heard of that, but you really want to focus on your plate. And if you're gonna, first of all, I think that we should have a salad with definitely at least one meal of the day, and that salad should be really varied with a lot of different colors. Your greens, your reds, your oranges, your purples, just your yellows, just varied colors. And that is a good rule of thumb for anyone to follow. Even if you're not sure of the exact nutrients in what you're eating, it's always a good rule of thumb just to go plant-based and varied in terms of color, because that will increase the amount of antioxidants that you're taking into the body. And the antioxidants are important to keeping your immune system very strong and healthy.
Would you promote a meatless diet? This is a question that I'm just throwing in there now. Would you promote a meatless diet just because of the time that we are living in now, with the amount of chemicals and so on?
Not necessarily. And the chemicals are not only in the meat. The chemicals can also be in your fruit and vegetables. That's why it's important to purchase certain things organic,
Mm-hmm.
because certain fruits and vegetables are known to just have a higher pesticide residue if they are harvested and grown conventionally,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to the organic route. So I wouldn't say that it's wrong to eat meat. I think it's a personal preference. One of
Right.
the things we do know is that red meat per se has been linked to increase risk for cancer and heart disease. So I would limit that. But I also think it's a personal preference. We're exposed to so many different toxins also in our environment, in the air we breathe, in just so many different areas that we can be exposed to toxins. So I would focus on plant-based diet as much as possible, limiting your red meat intake, limiting the deli meats as well, because they're also high in nitrites, which can also increase your risk for chronic degenerative diseases as well.
This evening, we are discussing COVID 19 and its effects, the symptoms, and even death it can cause. We have with us on the broadcast this evening Dr. Rhonda Cambridge Phillip, all the way from New York City, and she's enlightening us about how we can keep ourselves healthy. Isn't this good? Because we should try to be as healthy as possible, have our good rest. She emphasized early on, eat well, our plant-based diet, so it will be very beneficial to us. Doc, my next question for you: how can one survive COVID-19 virus? How can one survive COVID-19 virus? Because it's a concern for everyone. People are just wondering,
We
go ahead.
No, we are all very concerned, and we're right to be concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us have, we know people who have been touched by this pandemic. It's easy to say things and think a certain way, if you haven't really been affected. But if you have a friend or a family member, or someone that's just really close to you and you know that they've been touched by this virus, it takes on a new meaning for you in your life. And I think a lot of what my intention for this session as we talk this evening is to really just give factual information so that we have the right information to move forward and make the best decisions for ourselves and our families. So, how we can really beat COVID 19 again is just to be aware. First, we have to be aware and acknowledge that this is an issue, that we truly are in a pandemic, and that a lot of people are being affected and becoming sick, and a lot of people have lost their lives. So, first thing I would say is awareness. The second thing I would say is just being careful, and it starts with just focusing on basic lifestyle habits. And it goes back to the basics, just what I mentioned before: getting enough rest, staying well hydrated, eating right, and eating a varied diet, plant-based again, focusing on your fruits and vegetables and whole grains as well. Also, it's important to exercise. And when I say exercise, I don't mean it's necessary for each of us to go out and buy a gym membership or join a gym or anything like that. We can just focus on staying active, moving around more. Walking is a great example that pretty much anyone can do. You don't need any special equipment. You just put on a nice pair of comfortable walking shoes and get to walking and just moving. And it's important to do it in groups because it will motivate you more. It's also important to just focus on managing our stress. Stress is, I'd like to say that stress is the silent killer, and a lot of us are under chronic stress. So not all stress is bad. If it's an acute setting,
Hmm.
that can actually be very healthy. But when we are dealing with stress that's chronic over days, months, even years, that will definitely weaken your immune system and make it harder to beat the COVID 19. It's also important to, pay attention to making sure that we're getting the proper vitamins and minerals in our body, especially if we're not sure or concerned about if we're going to be able to get it in our regular diet alone. So we know about the benefits of vitamin D and vitamin C and zinc and magnesium and things like ellagic acid and resveratrol and a whole host of other antioxidants that are going to be very important. Turmeric, there's so many. There's a whole host of nutrients that are going to be important to boost our immune system. So I think control, and I think that's really important because there's a lot that we can't control, and that can be really, it could be a really sobering thing to really be faced with. There's so much that we cannot control, but there's so much that we can. It's still important to get some sun. Sunlight is always going to be important to boosting your immune system as well, because it also helps us make vitamin D. So despite the fact that we might be keeping our distance, it's still important to go out, even if it's 5 minutes. Just stand out and get some sun. Open the window, let some sunlight shine in, pull up the shades. We can still get exposure to sunlight. So there's a lot that we can do on our end that we can control, that can keep our immune system strong and healthy and giving us the ability to fight. Now, another part of beating the COVID-19 pandemic is going to be vaccination. And so that's not the only thing that we should be focusing on, but it can be an important part for really helping us beat this pandemic. And I know that people will have a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, rightfully so, about the safety and efficacy of the various vaccines that are available. Should they get it? Should they not? What should they worry about in terms of the future?
Mm.
And
Doc,
not,
could you hold that question for a little later on?
yes,
Could you
yes,
hold that question for a little later on? It's coming up. It's coming up. Want to welcome those who have just joined the program. We want to see Janice Denise Kerr, Dylan Kerr, also Sandra Lewis, CJ Lewis Beard. I'm seeing Stephen Williams. He's a very balanced person, individual. Ronald Howell, Donna Mae Walcott. Lisa Williams, just want to acknowledge you for joining the program. Joelle Cooper, my daughter. Sandra Grant Lewis, my dear wife. Just want to welcome all of you to the program this evening. We are discussing dealing with COVID 19, how to battle COVID 19 if you get infected with this dreaded disease. Let's go back to my other question. You talk about exercise, Doc,
yes.
and that's it's for someone who can actually go on the outside. But there are people who are in their homes who have contracted disease because it is brought home by maybe a grandchild or a father or mother, and there's
Hmm.
someone at home who cannot move around. What is your advice? How can this person battle this disease now? You remember the
Right.
person cannot go out and exercise.
So if they no, so if you can't go out and exercise, that is obviously understandable. You might have to quarantine and things of that nature. But there's things that you can do in your home. Like if you have stairs in your home and you're able to go up the stairs, go up and down the stairs, you can do that in your home. If you're able, now this is for people who are able to exercise. So use your stairs. Get a jump get a jump rope and jump. You can do that in your home as well. You can just, lay a towel on the floor and just start, doing some aerobic exercise, doing some push-ups, some sit-ups. You can do jumping jacks in your home. There are also various programs that are, on YouTube that you can just download for free on YouTube, and you can get a quick 10-minute workout. Just follow, do what the trainer does. So those who are for people who are inside the home, you can still get in some exercise even though you're quarantined in the home. And for those people who can't exercise, like if they physically can't do it, then that's a limitation as well. And I would say that they would work based on their personal ability. Of course, before you start any exercise program, you should definitely discuss that with your personal physician and just make sure that you're cleared for certain types of exercise. But I think even a simple exercise to do that really anyone can do is yoga. Yoga is a good one because it involves stretching and breathing, and you also can work up a sweat as well. It gets the circulation going, it gets the lymphatics going. And when you get the circulation going and you get the lymphatics moving, that's a way that your body can get rid of toxins.
Doc, I think you need to
So that
check
would be
your
my recommendation.
I think you need to
Oh,
check your video. I think it's on right. You're good now. Yes.
oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
you're good now. You're good now. There's a question coming in here for you. Sandra Grant Lewis is saying, my wife is saying, how does the disruption of the circadian clock influence the susceptibility of COVID 19?
Yes, that's an excellent question. That is an excellent question. When you talk about the circadian rhythm or your internal clock, we are meant to rest, and we are meant to rest at night. So for our night shift workers out there, just off the bat at baseline, their immune system is inherently slightly weaker
Compromise.
than someone who sleeps at night in normal hours. So our night shift workers, we applaud you. We salute you because you keep the world going while the rest of us
Sleeping.
are sleeping. But we know that's a risk, and so those individuals who work at night and work these weird hours, they're at risk because the sleep that you get during the day is never going to be the same as the sleep that you get during the night. There is this internal biological clock that we are meant to follow, and when we don't follow it, it can really start to cause the breakdown of our body over time, little by little, little by little,
Doc, I have a
not
question.
overnight.
I have a question for you stemming out of that question that was just asked there by Sandra. The darkness, how true it is sleeping in the light and sleeping in the dark. What's the difference?
Well, when you so it's like an internal, again, an internal rhythm that happens, so in order to have a restful sleep, there's certain things that need to be in play, because you can be sleeping, but is it restful? And do you approach those deeper stages of sleep where all that repair and regeneration takes place? The repair of cells, the repair of the DNA in our cells, the regeneration of cells, the breakdown and dissolution, dissolving of abnormal cells that are dead or dying or just dysfunctional. That happens 24/7. But again, there's certain things that only happen during those stages of sleep. And so to prepare your body for sleep, it's recommending that you have a certain temperature of your room. It can't be too hot. It can't be too cold. You also shouldn't be, having a heavy meal right before bed, because that's going to affect your quality of sleep. You shouldn't, you should avoid the intake of caffeine and alcohol, again, also before bed. But also, you should have the room, it shouldn't be lit like how we're awake now and we have the lights on. It should really be a darkened room, because that promotes you falling asleep naturally.
Okay, okay, okay. We are just taking a small commercial break. Now, whatever information you are seeing here on this program this evening and even before in the future, if you are benefiting from this information and you like this program, please share with someone so they too can benefit. We are also asking you to be a part of Move for Change Ministry. You can be a sponsor of this program at $10 each month so we can help in purchasing equipments and help somebody who is just less fortunate. We encourage you to be part of Move for Change Ministry. Doc, my other question is, you spoke about the vaccine early on. And by the way, I want to let those know out there, the program was set up that you can call in, but we are having a problem with the call-in line. So we are asking you to please type your questions in the
Mm.
box, in the comment box, and I will just read it out for Dr. Cambridge. Doc, in regards to the COVID-19 vaccine, you were talking early on about you are encouraging people to take the vaccine. Let me ask a very simple question. To me, this one is simple because there's a difficult one is coming up. Why are you encouraging us to take the vaccine?
Well, I would rephrase it and say that I'm not encouraging people to take the vaccine. What I'm encouraging is people having the proper information and knowing where to go for the right information,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that they can assess their risk as well. And then at the end of the day, once you have the facts, you should still discuss vaccination with your personal physician, right? Because there are certain people that can't take the vaccine, that definitely can't. Not because of personal preference,
Why?
but
Why?
because they may have severe allergies. So someone who has a history of severe allergies where they would go into anaphylactic shock, and these are the people that have to carry around it's called an EpiPen. It's a special medication that gets delivered by an injection into the muscle, and these are for people that have severe allergies, and they go into anaphylactic shock where their blood pressure drops, their respiratory tract is affected, the throat closes, there's a lot of edema. And so people who have severe that those type of allergies, they definitely shouldn't take the vaccine. So that's why I say it's have to discuss with your personal physician. But what I'm really about is giving information about how the vaccine can play a role in helping us manage this pandemic and helping us really just protect one another and save one another, and also get back to some sense of normalcy. And I know that there's a lot of information out there. Some of it is not actually accurate because I see people send me a lot of different videos and a lot of different reports, and the information is just not accurate. And it's just a shame that we're using that kind of information to make such a serious decision about one's health and also the health of the family. So I believe in making sure that people that I know or anyone that asks me for my expert opinion, that they know where to go to get the proper information. And I would suggest programs like this, of course, but also there are websites that have been peer reviewed and also checked for scientific accuracy in terms of getting the right information for what COVID is and why it's something that we should be worried about, and also information about the vaccine. So for us in the US, that's the CDC, or Centers for Disease Control. But then worldwide, it's the WHO, the World Health Organization website. I would prefer people go there for their information, as opposed to some of the various videos that we see, that some of them are really spliced, it's not the right information, and some of them are rather old too. Some of them were recorded at the beginning of the pandemic, or maybe even before, and really have nothing to do with the issue at hand. But we want accurate information, because information is changing. Things change as we go along. We're still pretty new in this pandemic. It's really only a year out, so we're still learning. The things that we thought initially, some of those things have changed. What we do know is that the COVID virus, the COVID-19, it's transmitted through respiratory droplets, and it's also airborne. And then we do know that it can last on inanimate objects or just hard surfaces as well, for up to 72 hours, and not all that information was available early on, but now we know that that's how those are the primary ways that the virus is transmitted. And that's where the recommendations for masking and social distance came about. And then with the emergency use authorization for the various vaccines, I know in the US there are 3 types of vaccines that are available now. And a lot of them the studies are still ongoing. But the initial research that came out does point to largely that these vaccines are safe.
So, Doc, I'm sorry for that messed up there. I made a blunder in my changing my screens there a while ago. Tell me something. I do believe that people have a right to be concerned with the vaccine because you are seeing all sort of different things are happening or hearing different things are happening, and sometimes it seems as though the information is keep changing. I know you
Yeah,
talk about you are learning different, you doctor, you are learning different things time after time as you do your studies and so on. But like for instance, right now there's one of the vaccine in England, right? The United Kingdom, they actually ban it, but here in Canada, they're saying our shipment is good. They call it the AstraZeneca, yet it's good, right? And how come it's from the same company? It's from the same company, but it's banned in one country, but in another country it's okay. And these are things that people would draw people's attention and to have deep
right.
concern about.
Right. And I would be very concerned about that as well. That makes a lot of sense to be concerned. Now, I can't talk intelligibly about exactly what the reason is. I can only sort of speculate. So
Hmm.
I'm not sure if it was something with the batch of vaccines that were initially um, sent to that particular country, because a lot of times we know that the vaccines have to be stored under certain conditions, and there's certain guidelines that must be followed to make sure that the vaccines are safe. So I'm not sure if something happened with the way of the handling, way those vaccines were handled in one country as opposed to another. I'm really not sure. I would really have to look at those reports to really talk more about exactly what would be the reason for that, why it would be banned in one country and okay for another country. It might be the same type of vaccine, but it might be being released by different companies. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah, there's a question that is coming up here. I was about to leave it for later on. I'll split this question basically in two. From Stephen Williams, he's saying, "Do you believe, Doc, that the virus is being used to achieve a global agenda to control or reduce the population, considering that it has a 99.997% survival rate?"
Okay,
You
so
want me?
maybe
You want me
to
to read the question
clarify.
again? You want me to read
Yeah,
it again?
and to clarify the last part, that
Yeah.
the
Um,
virus has a 99.97% survival
survival
rate.
rate. Yeah. Let me read that question for
Hmm.
you one more time. Do you
Yeah.
believe that this virus is being used to achieve a greater global agenda to control and reduce, operative word, the population, considering that it has a 99.99% survival rate? Yes, I think I read it well.
Yeah. So he's saying that the virus itself has a 99.9% survival rate. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate, but in terms of my belief as to whether or not this is to achieve some global agenda, I cannot be sure of that. And actually, I'm actually more concerned about what's happening on the ground and what's happening as I see people become infected with this virus and as I see how it affects families, and I see that lots of people have died, a lot. And so if you're saying a 99.97% survival rate, I'm not sure if that's worldwide, but that's difficult to tell a person who had a family member that they're burying. That was an intricate part of the family. That's difficult for someone to swallow, that it has a 99.97% survival rate.
The,
And a lot of what I'm focused on is really the trauma that comes from um, the deaths that have occurred from not only the person having to suffer through that disease, but also the ramifications that it has on the family, because it's very difficult to watch. A lot of people, they were being, and they would be infected and would die in 72 hours. It's just hard to, you know, come reconcile that with that statistic.
Mm-hmm.
And practically speaking, I'm more concerned about how we stop the spread of this virus and how we stop deaths, particularly when we're talking about communities that have a higher burden of disease. And unfortunately, that's people that look like me, black, brown, beige people.
Related to your response to that, I'll tie the other question in.
Hmm.
Why encourage people to take a vaccine that has actually killed and injured people?
Well, we have to look into those deaths that occurred, right? Because some of those deaths that occurred um, may have been in people who had severe anaphylactic reactions
Mm-hmm.
and shouldn't have taken the vaccine and shouldn't have been advised to take the vaccine. And that's why I say, at the end of the day, with all the information that we have, even the information I'm giving, I would even say, don't listen to me. It's information I'm giving, but don't listen to me because I'm not your personal physician. You
Mm-hmm.
still, at the end of the day, should go and discuss with your personal physician who knows your personal medical history, has been treating and managing you for quite amount of time, and that should be the final decision, should be between that individual and their physician. But and then at the end of the day, those we would have to look into those deaths more as well, because a lot of people who took the vaccine and unfortunately they passed later on. Are we completely sure that the death was due to the vaccine itself? So there's something in the scientific world that's called true, and unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
So it's true that the person might have taken the vaccine. It's true that the person had a severe adverse effect, which is death. But are the two really related? And sometimes, unfortunately, be the people who might be encouraging people not to take the vaccine, they have a motivation behind that to try to confuse us about that. My motivation, again, is not to encourage you to take the vaccine one way or the other. It's encouraging you to get the right information, proper information, scientific, accurate information that's, not mixed with anything else, and
Well,
then having a discussion with your personal physician. Doc, should I take this vaccine in my situation, my age, my underlying medical conditions, in my environment, in my neighborhood? I could tell you why I took the vaccine. I could say from a personal standpoint why I took it. First of all, being a frontline worker and being in, I can't even say initially when everything first started and everything shut down, and being and seeing what was happening, and seeing those trucks lined up on Utica Avenue here in Brooklyn, because the morgue was full. I mean, it's hard for me to reconcile that. Number one, where you are in it. It's not just somebody looking on the sideline and like, oh, it's not that bad. No, it was that bad. It was bad. And then having to know that I'm on the front line, and then I'm coming home to my family. I have an elderly mother that I take care of. That's a risk in and of itself. Also, the neighborhood where I reside right now, was like a hotbed for cases. So you really have to look at your risk. It's not just looking, yes, you have to look what's going on in the world, but you have to look what's going on with you in your situation. And again, black, brown, and beige people, we have a higher burden of disease in general before the pandemic. Obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, autoimmune disorder, Alzheimer's disease, cancer. I mean, I could go on and on. We have a burden of disease that's higher than other groups. And I'm only talking for the US because I know people are listening all over the world. But when I'm talking about the United States here. So we have that higher burden of disease to begin with. And that alone puts us at risk. You know, just being obese, you're at high risk. Carrying around some extra pounds, you're at high risk. Having asthma, having high blood pressure, you're just at high risk, you know? And it's easy to say don't take the vaccine, and or but I'm not here to say that. I'm really just here to try to make sure that people have the best information that they can use, practically speaking, to make a decision for you and your family. That's my intention.
Okay. We just want to welcome those who have just joined the program. I'm seeing Raymond McFarling on. There's another important question here for you. This is for you. Why are so many doctors against taking this experimental vaccine? I have to ask the questions because they are coming in. Why are so many doctors against taking this experimental vaccine?
Experience, and most of the doctors in my circle that I know are actually not against it because we're in it. We are taking care of those patients. I said in the day to day when I'm at the hospital, I'm a pediatrician, and people were thinking that kids either don't get COVID or they get it and it's not as severe, and that kids are not getting sick, but that has not been my experience. It really has not been my experience. It has been the opposite. The complications that come from, the kids getting COVID infection are it's not just a little cold, especially if that child has an underlying health issue, sickle cell disease, asthma. I can talk about the case of a 16-year-old boy previously healthy, you know, infected with the COVID. I believe he was asymptomatic at the time, but then, came into the hospital and developed blood clots in both his legs. I mean, it's really difficult to be faced with that. And then, you have someone reporting to you a statistic that you're not really sure where it's coming from, or not that it's not true, but you're just trying to understand, well, what study is that from? Because that's not my experience. And now this 16-year-old that was previously competitive basketball player, he can't play basketball right now. He has to be on medication for at least another year, at least. And I'm being generous with that. Who knows? He could have made it all the way to the NBA. He could have made it. He could have been the next LeBron James, or Michael Jordan or what have you. But here you have this virus that severely changed that. So again, I'm not promoting the vaccine. I can only tell you I took the vaccine and I had no issues. I know a lot of people that took the vaccine and had no issues at all. A lot of family members. I could also tell you that people are now taking the vaccine in secret because of the backlash they're getting. Like
Family.
when people found out they take the vaccine, they're like, "Well, are you crazy? How could you?" You know, they're now taking it in secret because they don't want to deal with the backlash. So you talk about people making their own decision, but it goes ways, right? It goes both ways. So people decided to make a decision to take the vaccine, but they're getting ridiculed. And I'm saying, you know, if you don't want to take the vaccine, that's fine. But you shouldn't be ridiculing other people who want to take it or making them feel
Okay.
like something is wrong with the fact that they took it.
Well, personally,
Well, I mean, that's just how I believe.
I believe that no one should be forcing another to take the vaccine.
That's
People,
right.
we all are
I agree.
intelligent people, and we ought to make a decision whether or not we want to take the vaccine. Doc, the conversation
Yes.
will change a little bit here from this question because we have about 15, 20 minutes more for this program. So we'd have a little slant now on the program. Now, listen to this. I know of at least one case where COVID was blamed for a death that has nothing to do with it. Don't you think that they sometimes use COVID 19 to just bring up the numbers and get us to get vaccinated?
Yeah. Well, I don't know who's the they. Like I said, when we start talking about the they, I don't know who's the they. All I can tell you is that in my experience and what I've been seeing,
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't know who you talk about that one case, and I'm sure I'm not saying that didn't happen. It probably did, and people probably do have another agenda, right? But for me,
You're not sure. You are not sure, right?
I'm not sure, but I'm also not concerned with somebody else's agenda.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually more concerned with our agenda, the people who are honest and who want to do the right thing and just want to stay healthy and do the right thing for their family. I'm a very practical person, so that is my agenda. If there's an agenda by someone else to depopulate the world, there's an agenda to increase the COVID um you know cases. I mean, it could go both ways. Here we have the mayor and the governor in New York, who he's receiving flack because they said he downgraded the number of cases, the number of deaths in nursing homes that were actually from COVID, but he downplayed it.
You see
So I
that
mean, so I
the
mean, what I'm trying to say is
mm-hmm.
it goes both ways. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we have to get away from, at least that's my opinion. I would want to get away from that and focus more on giving people practical information.
Information.
Because when you have somebody who had to bury their family member, and I could tell you, we're burying a family member tomorrow. Tomorrow we burying a family member who died of COVID. I really don't want to,
So Doc,
you know.
are you saying that if someone should contract COVID 19, having the vaccine, any one of the vaccines, it will actually bring them back to perfect health.
Right. So I can't say that. There's no guarantees to anything. And I think the only perfection that we have a guarantee is the love of our, Savior Jesus Christ, the love of God. We know that's guaranteed. And we know He is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, all bets are off. So I would never say 100% guaranteed. I would never say perfect. What I would say is that it's an extra layer of protection. To me, I look at it. There was a time where people didn't want to wear seatbelts. I'm being very broad with this, right? Extremely broad. So just follow my train of thought. There was a time where kids could travel in cars without car seats. And maybe in certain parts of the world that might still be true, right? So there was a time when all these things happened. And in the beginning, there was pushback for that too. There was pushback for having to snap on your seatbelt. There was pushback for having to strap your child in the car. Of course, there was pushback for all of that. And in the beginning, people were saying it's not that big of a deal. Why are we doing it? This is affecting our freedom. Why we have to strap ourselves in the car? Yes, in the beginning, they were saying that until over time, then we realized that that was an important part of safety. But I'm sure that there were people in the beginning who gave pushback, and rightfully so. It was their right. So I'm saying it's a similar thing here. I believe that for a lot of us, the vaccine is going to be an extra layer of protection.
Protection.
I believe it's an extra layer, not the only layer, but it's an
What's the other layer?
extra
What's the other
layer.
layer?
Right. So we talked about the other layers, the
Okay, yeah, we
lifestyle
did. We did.
modifications, right? We talked about the lifestyle thing, the basic things that we all should be doing. Eating right, drinking water, sleeping, exercising, managing our chronic disease. Like there's those of us, you have diabetes, but are you doing what you're supposed to do to manage that? So it starts with that, right? Then it starts with taking the precautions. And an extra layer is vaccination. Again, it's not the only layer, but it's an extra layer that is available for us to really take advantage of if and when we see fit. The only
Mm.
problem I have is with us going to these extremes. The vaccine is all bad. Nobody should take it. It's this, it's that. And then on the other side is equally bad, trying to say that we have to force people to get a vaccine. And I'm hearing people are saying all this stuff about, well, if you don't get a vaccine, you can't do this, you can't. Both those things are, I believe in there has to be a way that we could meet somewhere in the middle.
Doc, as you mentioned that, there's a question that's coming up here, but I want to get into some stuff that I have in mind now, right?
Yes.
Um, Here in Canada, I can
Hmm.
say, right here, I'm living in Canada. Um, it is said that you are not forced to take the vaccine. You can make a decision or not. But listen to the trick in this. I call it a
But
trick.
who said it? This is coming
Our
from
system,
who's saying it?
our government. They are not forcing anyone to take the vaccine. You are not. It's not mandatory. That's the word that they use. It's not mandatory, but yet still, they are bringing out what you call the vaccination passport. If you do not take the vaccine, I'm going somewhere now. If you do not take the vaccine, you cannot go certain places because you are at risk to other people. You cannot go certain places. You cannot travel. Okay, you might not even be able to get on the job. Well, that one can be challenged in the court of law because I think there's a law against that. And but you cannot travel, you cannot do certain things. And there are people who believe, like myself, right, as a Christian, Seventh-day Adventist Christian, we believe definitely what is happening here now is leading up to a lot of stuff that will be coming up that the Bible spoke about. Okay, it's and we also believe that what's happening now, it's a just rehearsal. Now I just want to go biblical a little bit, because I know
Hmm.
you are a Bible believing Christian. I just want to
Yes.
go there a little bit. In the Bible in Revelation 13 tells us that the mark of the beast and one paying the image to the beast and all this, right? And it also tells
Hmm.
us that what they're saying now, if you don't have the vaccine, you cannot travel. Now, I want to make this abundantly clear to the world. I
Yes.
am not saying that the vaccine is the mark of the beast. Let me say that. Let me
Yes.
repeat myself. I'm not saying that the vaccine is the mark of the beast. It is not. But let me go with what the Bible says. They are saying now, if you do not take the vaccine, right? When it became law, when it becomes a law, you cannot travel, you
But
cannot get
it,
on an airplane. Hold on, doc. You cannot
yeah,
get on an aircraft. You cannot do certain things, you know. And the Bible talks tell us about the same thing. A time is coming, if you do not take the mark of the beast, you would not be able to buy and sell. Isn't this looking a little obvious? They're looking like they're related to each other. There's some kind of relationship. So we are looking at these two things now as they're working together. What's happening now? It's like a dress rehearsal, and we are convinced that this what is happening here now, it's shaping up to exactly what the Bible is talking about in Revelation 13. You cannot buy, you cannot sell, you cannot do certain things if you do not take the mark of the beast, you know. That's why, biblically speaking, that's why a lot of people are resisting right now what's happening now in regards to this vaccine. And also, you talk about it's the mayor in New York City. Now he is one of the leaders down there. Think about it. He is one of the leaders down there. And I lived in New York for a while. I'm always in New York City, but because of COVID-19, I'm not down there for a while. Look, they caught him lying. They caught him
yes.
cheating. You know who? Then how do they want people to trust them as leaders? So when people now, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. When
I
people
understand.
have their concern and their deep concerns, it's imperative that their concern be pay attention to. You understand?
I understand. I understand completely. And I don't think that we are not paying attention to people's concerns. We are listening and we're hearing the concerns, but we are trying to put it into perspective,
Hmm.
right? I'm sure it's not the first time you heard a politician not be truthful, right?
I've
I
heard, I've,
know
I've
I,
heard
I
that many,
know
many
that's not
times.
I know that's not the first time we've heard that. And I only brought that up because I was trying to show that disconnect on both ends, that it happens on both ends. I wasn't trying to say we should put our trust in politicians at all. First of all, we should put our trust
In
in
God.
God. That's it. For me, I'm looking at it at a very simplistic view. Very
Hmm.
simplistic.
Well, I like how
I do believe
you're very
I
balanced. I like that as a doctor. You're very
I,
balanced.
yeah, I thank you for that. I
Yeah,
try.
you're
I
very
try
balanced. Yeah,
because
yeah.
I want to be very practical, especially I think about the world that my kids are coming up in, and I want them to be able to have basic practical laws that they can live by, you know? So that's the main thing. That's the main thing for me. One of the things that I will say is I'm not a pastor. I'm not a theologian. I believe in the Bible. I study the Bible, but I'm sure I can't quote the Bible and all the different passages as many of you who are listening now. But I also think that there are many people who are like me that are just trying to do
The right
what's
thing, you
right.
think?
And what
Hmm.
we believe is that there's one true God and he is in charge of all of this. All of it. All of it. Everything that's going, he has a hand in it. And we just believe people who are thinking like me, not everybody, but people who are thinking like the way that I do, we believe, to put it real simple, God has our back. And
That's a
if we
fact. That's
try
a
to do
fact.
the right thing,
Hmm.
everything will all work out. One of the things that you said, which is really important that you said it, was that this vaccine is not the mark of the beast, because I hear a
It's not.
lot of
It's
that
not. It's not. It's
going
not.
on.
It's not.
I hear a lot of that going on. And I do believe that as faith based leaders, and because to me, the mayor, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I'm saying, yes, I pay attention to the mayor. But I'm saying, you know who I pay attention more to? People like you. And I know other people pay attention to people like me, right? It's the people in your tribe, in your group, that we get the information from. That's why I think this forum is so important. We shouldn't be looking to the mayor or the president or other people who we think are in so-called power because they have money and making a decision based off of what they are saying. That's not right either. So if to me, if we really truly do believe in the one omnipotent God who's the creator and supreme of all of it, I don't even think that we need to worry because he has our back. I'm so glad that you said taking the vaccine is not a mark of the beast. So I think it all boils down to, practically speaking, your concerns about the safety and efficacy. That's what I think most of us are dealing with. Is this vaccine safe? Is it going to help me get back to normal? Or is it going to cause more problems for me in the long run?
You know, Doc.
And I think those are fair questions. And I think that's what most people want to focus on. Again, I could be wrong, but that's what I think most people are
Yeah,
looking to get.
I do believe that people want lead, a home in your home. The kids cannot rise higher than the leaders. Am I correct? In the church or in a group, the members cannot rise higher than leaders. And we have the leaders in the world today. It's hard to, when they pass laws, we cannot rise high against them. But I'm saying that to pull 2 points out of the blog. Someone is saying Bible says you have to obey the rules of the land. I'm tying that into
Yep.
a comment from Raymond McFarlane. He's saying, which he's right, the Hebrew boys disobey the rules of the land once it goes against the laws of God. So if there's something that is against the law of God, I'm not saying that the vaccine is against the law of God. Don't get me wrong out
Right.
there. But if
Right.
something is against the law of God, we have to obey the law of God rather than the law of the land. You understand? Because man will
I
make
agree.
laws, man will do things, and I would rather obey
Mhm.
God rather than man. I 100%. No leader, nobody can get to me to put them
Yes.
in front of God. I'm obeying God. God
Exactly.
is one who can take your breath now. It belongs to Him. He's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
He's in control. Doc, I must commend you again once more for being so practical as a medical doctor. There are many doctors who are not practical like you. I really, really, really commend you for that. I take my hats off to you. Now, Doc, question for you. With all the families that are hurting right now in regards to their death,
Yes.
do you think that, listen to my question carefully,
Mhm.
do you think that most of these, many of these lives could have been saved even from a medical point of view in the early part of this vaccine?
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. And it brings me to the point where I'm saying that, and in agreement with what you just said, is that we're not looking to, the leaders of the country to lead us. Yes, we know that they are our leaders, but
Mm.
we do understand that they may not understand what's going on in our neck of the woods. It's impossible for us to believe that our elected officials, all of them, maybe our councilmen, the different strands of government in the U.S. The councilman might probably could identify with us. The senator probably, but once you, and I say probably, but once you get past that, they really cannot understand where we are coming from, so to speak, because they are not living what we live. So we're not looking to them. We are in charge of, to me, our own destiny. I truly do believe that. And I do believe that, but what they would have you believe, and what all these things that you see, they would have us believe that we are not in control. That is just the people with the money that are in control. And then we get wrapped up in that and then we begin to not pay attention. We start minding other people's business and not minding our own. My mother always used to say that, mind
Mhm.
your own
Mind your own
business.
business.
Mind your own business. We're not worrying about what they're doing over there. We're worrying about what we're doing. We have to take care of
Mhm.
ourselves. And case in point, when this virus first came, we didn't get the right information. They were downplaying it. They were downplaying it. They were even going against us, what we were saying. When I say us, the medical community, they continue to go against the medical community. Now you have doctors who are not like me. They're all kind of different doctors, right? They're doctors who just don't believe in vaccine, way off from, they don't believe in any vaccine. So forget about the COVID. They definitely not going to believe in this one because they are against all vaccine. So I'm not surprised. There's a lot of things that I see coming out with doctors who are saying that they are against the COVID, not vaccine, not doctors who are saying they're not sure, they want to see, they're going to, make a decision case by case. They're not saying that. There are doctors who are just against it. And you go back into their you have to really do your research. That's why I say I'm talking to you now. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Go and do.
Why these doctors are so against
Listen,
vaccine? I just
listen,
want to
go.
know.
I'm saying, even as I'm talking, everybody listening, go and do your research on me. I said, who is she? Who's this Dr. Cambridge? What she know? Where she come from? You need to do that with every doctor that's on all these videos. Because I sit and I say, okay, this one said this, because I listen to the videos for the doctors who are against the vaccines. I listen to it all. I listen to all the theories, and then I take the name and I go and I research. And if you do that, you will see all the other things that they believe in that don't make any sense, that is not grounded in anything scientific. They've been disbarred, disbanded, their license was taken. I mean, so you just really have to be careful. They have their own agenda too now. That have nothing to do with us. Have nothing to do with us.
Mhm.
So we again have to be careful who we listen to.
Doc,
Don't even listen to me. I'm saying it. Don't listen to
I
me.
think, Doc, I have a question here. I have a burning question here. I want to take 1 minute, and about 2 minutes to respond to this question, because when I bring you, I will bring you up on the screen by yourself. I'll be coming offset for a while. I'm go to get something to show you, so you can talk. When I'm back, I'll be bringing myself up on the screen. The question is, I personally heard Bill Gates says that if 7 billion are vaccinated, then there is a chance that 10%, 700,000 people may die. What is your view on that? Doc, can you comment on that until I bring myself on the screen?
So just repeat it again. So Bill Gates said
Okay,
that if 7 million people,
let me bring that up. I personally heard I heard this. I have the clip on my computer here, but I won't bring it up right now. I
yeah,
personally heard Bill Gates says that if 7 billion are vaccinated, then there is a chance that 10%, that 700,000 people may die. What is your view on that?
I'm not sure where he's getting that statistic, but I'll tell you. So I don't know if it's true or not. But one thing that would make me suspect
Mm-hmm.
with Bill Gates giving again where this information is coming from. Bill Gates, he's good at making sure that my computer is doing what it needs to do. The software is, if I need to write a document on Word, if I, so he's good with that. My Microsoft works well. I have a little stock in Microsoft too, so okay. I'm rocking with him on that. But you see, for me, I'm very practical again. He cannot advise me on anything medical. I don't care what he says. He cannot advise me on anything medical. So this is why I don't understand why people are taking this information he says, which is freedom of speech, so he can say whatever he wants. But I'm just not sure why we are latching on to information about healthcare and about our personal health from someone that is not qualified. So I have a problem with that. What I think about it, I don't know what to think because I didn't hear the clip of. I'm sure you're gonna show it to me. Um, but what I think about it, I'm not even really hot and bothered by it because I don't think he's qualified to make any decision about me getting the vaccine or not. What Bill Gates thinks is never gonna enter. It's not going to be one of the things I'm checking off as to whether or not I should get the vaccine. You know
Mm-hmm.
why? Because his situation is totally different than mine and of the people I care for
Okay.
and of the people that my tribe. So, again, and this is why I say we have to be careful where we're getting our information from. Please be careful about that. Again, I'm not saying to take the vaccine. I'm not saying not to take it. I could tell you where I took it, and I could tell you why other people took it. But I could also tell you why people didn't take it, and I respect that. But I want you to make your decision not on Bill Gates, not on any politician and their views. I want you to make your decision based on first accurate scientific information that you can get from the CDC and the World Health Organization, right? Then I want you to make your decision and you go through and read those reports. Get it from the paper and not just what you even hear me saying or hear anybody say it. It's in plain English. We can all read it. I'm sure it'll be translated in other languages too. So the information is widely available. The next thing you should use to make your decision of whether or not to vaccinate is your personal risk. If you have an underlying disorder, I'm talking to you now listening. I don't want to hear about Bill Gates. But if you have an underlying condition, you have diabetes, you have high blood pressure, you have cancer, you have any chronic disorder that you are taking medication for, you have to go to your physician and say, Doc, they say I'm at high risk for the COVID, right? Do you think I should take it? The other thing you should take into account is where you live. I told you about me. Where I live, our area had a lot of cases. So that also entered into my decision to
Okay.
take the vaccine.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. There's certain criteria that you should be checking off to decide
Your
whether
decision.
or not. Yes. And it's your
Doc,
decision. And we respect you either way. Nobody's
Doc.
gonna browbeat you if you decide not to take it.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's going to browbeat you if you decide to take it. What we do know is we don't even need everybody to take it. That's the truth of the matter.
But
Again,
this
me
this
being
come back.
practical. Me
This come.
being practical. Let me just finish this thought. Me
Mm-hmm.
being very practical. We don't even need everybody to take it. We, you know, we just need a certain percentage, to achieve that herd immunity. We know not everybody's going to take it.
Tell the worldwide, Doc. Doc, I will I will stretch this broadcast a little more. There are a couple
Oh,
of
we're
things I
going
want to.
overtime. I always
Yeah,
do this,
that's
I
okay.
always
We'll
go
stretch that a little bit more,
overtime.
just because I want to get in some information. In short, tell the worldwide why you do not want the whole world to be vaccinated.
No, I didn't say I don't want the whole world. That's not my decision. I'm saying we don't need we
Why?
just need
Why?
to, because what we're trying to reach is
Mm-hmm.
something that's called herd, HERD, immunity.
Okay.
That's where when a majority of a group is vaccinated, the majority, not all, the majority is vaccinated, and that will protect the people that are not vaccinated. That's why I'm saying people who don't get vaccinated,
Hmm.
it's okay. But the
Well, Doc,
people who do, we're
Doc,
protecting the ones.
Doc, um, okay, I guess Doc would be coming up back shortly. We lost her there, so I hope she be back up and running shortly. I just had a clip here for her, so I wish she can be back up shortly. Now we are discussing this evening COVID-19 and how it affects us. You know, you can die from COVID-19. We had some very controversial comments on the program, but they were well sorted out. Now I have a clip here with Bill Gates' show, but Doc, we lost her connection. I do hope she be back up shortly. But I will still run this clip now for all those out there who never heard
This
this.
man
Listen
is
to
one
this
of the
clip.
richest men in the world. And as we all know, rich people, especially with family, love to care about regular people like me and you. He, a multi-billionaire, care about you so much that in 2011, he gone on a stage and said this. Check it out.
First, we've got population. The world today has
That's that's
6.8 billion.
um that's Bill Gates here. That in regards to Stephen. That's in regards to your clip. He said it. If there's a certain amount of people can be vaccinated, and also I want to share a clip with you with Como from the governor of New York
It is
City. Let's listen to him
directly a
now.
result of what you do today. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. A lot of pain and suffering did that. It is directly a result of what you do today. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. A lot of pain and suffering did that. It is directly a result of what you do today. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. A lot of pain and suffering did that. It is directly a result of what you do today. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. A lot of pain and suffering did that.
Now, Governor Como is talking about how he's giving all the praise to the frontline workers. Frontline workers, we do acknowledge you for the risk that you have taken to help those who are sick with COVID-19. You are at high risk at any time, very essential. And we do applaud you for your family, for you putting your trust out there and your all your energy, trying to be careful and mindful every day of what you do just to not to convict COVID-19. There are many frontline workers, health workers who died from COVID-19. We big salute the families, But in all, we just want to say that be safe. Be careful, be wise in all you're doing. Put God first in everything that you're about to do. Put God first in all your decision making. Consult God, and God will direct you in your decisions. I personally, I will consult God in whatever I'm doing. And in my decision and for my family, this is something that we talk about. Discuss it with your family, and if you say it's beneficial for you, you go right ahead. I'm not, as one of the leaders, I'm not going to enforce and telling anybody that they should take COVID-19 vaccine. I'm not doing that. You have to make a personal and a cognitive decision. That's what we do as the family. My family, we made our decision, and we will stand by it. And I know many times we all are not making the decision to take the vaccine because we cannot trust our leaders. Leaders, we are just making it abundantly clear. The Bible talk about this would happen in the last days. We'd have pandemics and epidemics. The Bible talk about this. We have people who want to be in control and run the affairs of this world, but God is in control. I want to tell Governor Kamo that God is in control and not him. God is the one who is keeping the frontline workers and not him. Right now, Governor Kamo needs the power of God in his life to take him out from the hot seat that he's in. God is in control. I encourage you to keep trusting God, keep praying, keep depending upon God. You know, I brought my little vial here that I wanted to show Dr. Rhonda, but somehow she had cut off from our live connection. But we use a lot of natural stuff, you know, to help us. I'm a frontline worker. I'm a service engineer, so I have to enter into people's homes every day. But God has given me his protection, asking God to cover me, and you do the same. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining in this program. I hope it was very beneficial for you and your family. Please share, subscribe, and like this program. Go on to our YouTube channel and subscribe there so you can get a notification whenever we are live on air. If you are also enjoying these programs, we're asking you to be a supporter of this ministry so we can help change lives together. $10 each month. You can be able to make that, I'm sure, and you would really like to help someone who's just less fortunate and helping us with our equipment. Be a sponsor of this ministry and you would be blessed. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening. Move for Change Ministry is signing off, and see you next time. Bye-bye.